Hi everyone, welcome to week 2 of the academic writing seminar. This week we're going to learn about what is academic writing, or what is writing academically. This is going to be quite broad, and then each week after this will be an individual topic from this PowerPoint presentation. We're in the process of moving our office and our house. That's 1,700 kilometers, so that's why I'm on my bed on my laptop as opposed to on my big computer. So it's a bit glitchy and slow. That's probably why. Also connected to my phone's Wi-Fi. Okay, so anyone in the chat, can they tell me what academic writing is? That's good. I can't see the chat. Anyone have any idea what academic writing is? Okay. So academic writing is it's just a way of writing things. Sometimes it's not appropriate, but oftentimes when you're writing any kind of assignment, it's kind of expected that you use academic writing techniques. Newspapers, websites do not need to use academic writing. They can use an informal style. Academic writing is a more formal style of writing. So, even though technically, if you're writing an assignment, you're writing an academic piece of work, there is difference. And I guess the main way to put it is one is very informal, the other is very formal. And it depends on your audience, it depends on what you're writing. If you're going to be doing a presentation on, I don't know, or to grade 5 kids, you're probably not going to write really formally, are you? You're going to adopt a more informal, style of writing. Whereas if you are a scientist and you're writing a journal article, you're going to use a far more formal style of writing. So academic writing is impersonal and it's formal. So usually when you're writing an assignment for an audience that expects academic writing. So no opinions, no feelings, no emotions, just facts, research papers, dissertations, reports. They have a rigid structure. They have introductions, overviews, conclusions, sometimes recommendations. And it is when we are trying to inform the audience. It is non-biased, and we use evidence to back up our claims. So, it's been a long day. So when you're writing scientifically, it's expected that you write in a formal way. I mean, any kind of assignment writing, really, you shouldn't be writing as you. You should be writing as an impersonal mode of writing. We don't have opinions. No one cares about your opinions in academic writing. And it should be factual. So, non-academic is just for the lay person. If you're writing a newspaper article, a website, a Facebook post, then you are going to use a non-academic style of writing. So personable, emotional, subjective, lots of opinions. The facts aren't really important. Dare I say, advertising is very informal. So this is where things like slang. So you can use slang, you can use detractions, you can use, what's the other word for slang? Sort of sometimes you'd be expected to use like text speak. Just depends what you're writing. So as you can see, and it's generally just chatting roughly about a topic. And oftentimes we inform, entertain, or persuade the readers. Right, if you've got a pen and paper there and you're watching, even the recording, we give you 1 minute to jot down those differences between academic and non-academic and pick where in your student career you've used either of them. Or an example of something you've written that is informal and an example of something you've written that is formal. Oh, sorry, all yawning. If you're watching, we're coming up, you're figuring out or remembering one piece of work that you've done that was academic and one that was non-academic. So anyone got one where they know it was academic? So informal style of writing would be an English essay in like grade 8 or 9, informal, or you know what, the text messages you send, Facebook messages, Facebook posts are all non-academic examples of non-academic writing. Academic writing might be a scientific report, research topic for science, so on and so forth. So when you're writing academically, always use formal language. Do not use colloquialisms or slang. Don't use contractions. I think I said detractions before. Sorry, I meant contractions, which are shortened verbs. Do not write I think, because do you know what no one cares about when you're writing like this? What you think. It's about what you know and what you can prove that you know. Oh, sorry. One at a time. Don't pose questions. Never ask a question in academic writing. Convert them into statements. And you see it a lot when people are writing. Don't use exaggerations or hyperbole. Hyperbole being just saying something that's over the top to try and make a point. And don't generalize. Do not generalize. Because at the end of the day, generalizing is not academic. It's do I say the word dumb? It is quite stupid to generalize. Because generalizations are just that. They are general. They're not academic. They're not scientific. They don't mean anything. And people begin to repeat and not be concise when they are struggling to write their paper. There's a beautiful thing on Word, the thesaurus. Anyone ever read or written an assignment where they just seem like they wrote the same words over and over and over and over? It's really painful to mark. When you're sat there reading and it is just the same words over and over and over. Use the thesaurus on Microsoft Word and thank me later. Or just remember what synonyms are from when you were in grade 2. So, I'm just going to go shut my door. Crazy people. So academic articles are written by professionals in a given field. Let's just pretend that you guys are the professionals. You know what you're talking about. So in this case, you guys are the professionals. Your teachers are the peers. So language is formal. Formal language. Yay. So this is where some people go wrong when you don't have a good understanding. If you're writing something, a biology assignment in grade 11 or 12, chemistry assignment, then don't use lay terms. You need to use scientific terms that relate to what you're doing. So if you're writing something about biology, use technical terms. And the other big thing here, references. Because remember when I said nobody cares about what you think when you're writing? It's true. And it's nothing personal. But if you can't back up what you're saying, then you might as well not say it, because no one's going to listen if you don't have references. So non-academic articles written by anyone. Don't have to be an expert in the field, don't need to know what you're talking about. They're informal, casual, may contain slang. Academic writing, you would always write Australian. Non-academic, you could write Aussie and get away with it. No reference list in a non-academic piece of work. That's my favorite thing. Do not use Wikipedia as one of your references. I think I showed this in the assignment writing seminar when I was talking about what is a good reference, and we will. Wikipedia is not a good reference. Okay. So, features of good academic writing. Everybody laughs when I say this, but the amount of reports that are written like essays and the amount of essays that are written like reports is astonishing. So make sure you are writing in the correct structure. Your essays should not have headings. Reports should not have your opinion. The most frustrating part about reading some science assignments is you can tell when somebody has written the assignment and then found references to back up what they say, except for going and finding the references and then writing the assignment. It's very, very easy to tell. So before you start, you need to research and reference what you're doing. The third one is very frustrating because, again, it's another, you could have all the best ideas in the world, but if they don't flow in a cohesive way, you're not getting full marks. So coherent, does it make sense? Always get someone else to read your work, because whilst it makes perfect sense to you, doesn't make sense to everyone else. Grammatically accurate. Amount of Facebook posts you see about people talking about Bill Gates wanting to take over the world, and there is 90% of it is spelled wrong or has the wrong grammar. No one takes it seriously. Same thing with your academic writing. Again, punctuations, vocabulary appropriate to the task. If it says to direct this to a layperson, don't use overly complicated medical and science terms, because no one will listen. Well, if you're delivering this to a room full of scientists, if you don't use scientific terms, you won't get a look at it. So concise, so to the point, don't waffle on. Again, this is the biggest one, and then you see it all the time. You get a task sheet that tells you exactly how to lay out the assignment. The font, the word count, I want a title page, table of contents. If you do just that, you're looking at 10% of your mark already done. And the other one is, have you actually answered the question? And that sounds like I'm taking the mickey out of people, but you have to answer the question in order to get full marks. So, is it written in appropriate style or tone? Now, academic writing isn't always appropriate. It depends on what your teacher has asked of you. If you don't mix the two styles. If you're writing academically in the beginning, don't start using first person, informal language and slang, and then go back to academic writing. It has to be consistent. So capitalization, don't worry too much about the first three. We'll go through that with the referencing. But the authors, Hoffman and Elwin, have to be capitalized. We have to have capitalization. So participants were selected from 11 universities, needs a capital. Again, if it's a name, Maiden and Perry, it's referencing, which we'll go into later on, it needs to be capitalized. TPP stands for Tertiary Preparation Program. This is a course we used to teach years ago. So again, take 2 minutes. If you're watching now. Questions 7 to 10, where should the capitals be? Two minutes. Okay. Well, the start is the first letter. First letter there needs to be capital. TPP, because it's short for Tertiary Preparation Program, needs to be capitalized. Kerry Rutter, and again, TPP. So University of the Sunshine Coast is a place, so it needs to be capitalized. Again, Papuan refers to a group of people, also needs to be capitalized. So Kerala, so names, and that one doesn't need any capitalization. Apostrophes. So I'm going to leave everyone for 3 minutes. Tell me where the apostrophes need to go here. Or where does the apostrophe need to sit in all of these words? And I will go through that at the start of next week as our questions. Three minutes. I'm going to get up and turn the fan on. It's about 6 billion degrees. 1 more minute. All right, we'll go through that next week. So, do we write in the first, second, or third person? Sorry. Second person, you should take notes. First person will be I should take notes in the lecture and revise my notes within 24 hours. Second person is you should take your notes in lectures and revise your notes within 24 hours. Third person, this is the objective view, or the more formal way of writing. Students. So we are now taking ourselves away from it. It's not talking about me, you, us, I, them. We're now just talking about students. It is more objective. It's taking you out of the situation and you're looking from outside in, or in the third person. Okay. So contractions. This is where we shorten 2 words to 1 using an apostrophe. They are not academic. They are very informal. So, do not write, don't. Don't write, don't. Do write, do not. So, fairly self-explanatory. I don't think I need to go over any of that. Okay, so there's our non-academic, and then we need to come up with an academic alternative. So 3 minutes. come up with an academic alternative Remember, now we just want to be more formal. We'll go through 3. So I'm going to give you 2 more minutes and then we'll go through 3 of them. So if you're watching the recording, you can either think or you can skip ahead 2 minutes. Well, I can see the first one there, couldn't even consider, could not instead of couldn't. I had a hunch. A more academic could be I had a thought that this was the case. They were out cold. The person was unconscious. Imagine that's probably what's going to happen at some point in the origin today. Things not living. The person was not alive. Or the rock was not alive. It's a more formal way. All we're doing is taking it and we're saying it a bit more pompously to use a technical term. Made mincemeat out of. So that's slang or colloquialism, I guess you can call it. And that means to do something very badly. So when we're looking at these, we're looking at it from how can I make this sound more formal, more more boring is another way to look at it as well. Okay, so again, I'm going to go 2 minutes if you're watching. Are these sentences academic or non-academic? And then we'll go through them. 2 minutes. I think that was 2 minutes. I'm way too impatient. I'll give you another minute. Okay, so first one, any ideas? Yeah. First one is not academic because it has a contraction. So, second one, the initial results were completed and the results analyzed by June 2008. It's just a fact. It is what it is. This is the most becoming angle for this camera to be on. So I'd like to start by drawing your attention to previous research in the area. Is that academic or not academic? That's a tricky one. Not academic, because it is starting with an I. But in the 1990s, some researchers started to point out the problems with this theory. So Izzy, why is it non-academic? Yeah. So some researchers is the word "some" is a bit vague. It could be, but it also might not be. We could improve this by changing "some" to an actual number of researchers. So he agreed with me that this procedure didn't make much sense. Not academic. We'll repeat the same test sometime next year. Yeah. While this is probably the most academic out of all of them. While it's still too early to draw firm conclusions from the data, preliminary analysis suggests the following trends are present. That is about as academic as you can get. Again, the last one. In addition, the research attempts to answer two further related questions. Academic or not? Okay, don't take 5 minutes. Take 2 minutes and jot down the things that you think are the biggest differences between academic and non-academic writing. 2 minutes, in your own words, what are the differences? And what will you do differently to improve your academic writing as a whole? This is week 2. This is a very general view of academic writing. And we will look at all of these individual components in the next 8 weeks. All right, so this list is going to help you when you start to write the next assignment, and it's going to be a little checklist in your head. You're going to go, probably shouldn't have written that I, or I think, or contraction. So here's my dodgy little list here. So all those things we've gone over. Formal, objective, concise, no slang, no contractions, always referenced and cited. If you just do all of those things in your assignments, you'll be so much better off. So, general writing, informal or semi-formal, slang, contractions, no referencing, you can say whatever you want. Or academic doesn't care about your opinion, and non-academic writing, you can use your opinion if you so wish. So, some academic terms. So, take these down as many as you can. Again, a couple of minutes to take those down. Comprehension, spontaneously, empirical, acquisition, manipulations, adjunct, inferences, intervention, cited, factual prose, or prose. Facilitator, I mean, I don't know any time you would use factual prose, but you know. Striking, encoding, corresponded, caveat. These are words that you can use in place of less formal words. Again, I'll put in what they mean after this and what we can replace with these fancier words. 1 minute, and then I will big reveal. Although you probably got the slides in the email. So comprehension is understanding something. So spontaneously, a non-formal term would be off the cuff, without planning. So empirical, it's based off testing and measurement. Acquisition, so understanding. Okay, I have the acquisition of this knowledge or understanding this knowledge, the following inferences could be made. So instead of writing, we changed the technique, we manipulated the technique. Adjunct is something an additional or an extra. So inferences. So instead of saying we could make the following guesses from the data, we could infer the following from the data. So interventions could be techniques. So the interventions used in this report were cited, again, referenced, and cited are the two big words for that. So again, don't use factual prose. It's a bit over the top. Facilitated, or instead of assisted. So if someone is impressive, they have a striking physique, or they have a striking aura about them, instead of the word impressive. So encoding, corresponded or matched. So the correlation corresponded to that eating organic food causes autism. Obviously it doesn't. Caveat or a limitation. Again, I think limitation is more than an academic word, but it's one you could use. Instead of stimulation, you can use arousal, so athlete arousal levels. And repertoire, or your range of skills, is a good one. What I want you guys to do is, with all of these words, write an academic sentence. So, sentence using all of those, well, not all of them in one sentence, but a sentence for each of them. You can do that in your own time. Okay. Academic sources of information. Anyone know what is a non-academic source of information? There's one big one. And it starts with W. Ends with Wikipedia. You don't know how silly you'd look when you cite Wikipedia. I'm going to show you a hack for that. So let's just pretend we're looking for photosynthesis. No, it's not really Wikipedia. Can you guys see the, oh, yeah, the web browser there of me searching? Okay. So if you find something you want to reference in Wikipedia, don't reference Wikipedia, please. What you can do is go down here and use their references. Oh, battery's running low. Excellent. Got time. So you find something you like, go down, find the reference, and use that reference. Just please don't reference Wikipedia. All I ask of you. Pretty please. So what is an academic source of information? Journal articles. .org, .gov, not textbooks. And everyone looks at me strange when I say textbooks are not academic sources. They are not. Go to the back. What you won't find is references. Okay. So come to the end. When do you think it's appropriate to write non-academic or in an informal tone? Where's an example? Facebook posts, news articles, text messages, emails that aren't to work people. When you're writing in a general way and you're not trying to convince people of something, as long as it can know. Not everything I say is reliable. Sometimes I just make stuff up. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so the idea of today was to show you the difference between non-academic and academic writing. What we're going to do now is look into each of those aspects of academic writing in real detail. So I will see